For over 75 years, they've been dismissed as hoaxes, weather balloons, or the fantasies of conspiracy theorists. But what happens when Navy pilots, radar operators, and government officials start saying the same thing? What if the most extraordinary question in human history isn't whether we're alone in the universe, but whether we ever were? Today, we're examining the most compelling UFO evidence ever documented, from classified military encounters to government admissions that have changed everything. This isn't about little green men or alien abductions. This is about documented, verified phenomena that our best scientists and military minds cannot explain. Our story begins in the summer of 1947, in the desert outside Roswell, New Mexico. Rancher Mac Brazel discovered debris scattered across his property, strange metallic fragments unlike anything he'd ever seen. On July 8th, 1947, the Roswell Army Airfield issued a press release that would echo through history. They had recovered a flying disc. Within hours, that story was retracted. Suddenly, it was just a weather balloon. But here's what makes Roswell different from other UFO stories. Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who first examined the debris, maintained until his death that what he saw was not of this world. The materials were incredibly light, but impossibly strong. They couldn't be cut, burned, or dented with a sledgehammer. Decades later, multiple military personnel on their deathbeds described recovered craft and non-human bodies. Were they telling the truth? We may never know. But Roswell established a pattern. Official denials followed by credible witness testimony that refused to disappear. What we do know is this: something crashed in that desert, and the military's response suggests it wasn't just a weather balloon. 50 years after Roswell, the skies above Phoenix, Arizona became the stage for one of the largest mass UFO sightings in modern history. At 8:15 p.m. on March 13, 1997, thousands of people witnessed a massive V-shaped formation of lights. Some described it as over a mile wide, silently gliding across the Arizona sky. This wasn't a brief glimpse or a blurry photo. This lasted for hours. The witnesses weren't just everyday citizens. Commercial airline pilots radioed air traffic control. Police officers filed reports. Arizona's Governor Fife Symington initially mocked the sightings, until 2007, when he admitted he saw it too and called it otherworldly. The military explanation? Flares dropped during a training exercise, but here's the problem. Flares fall. These lights maintained perfect formation and moved deliberately across hundreds of miles. Flares don't do that. Dr. Lynn Kitai, a physician who witnessed and photographed the event, spent years investigating. Her conclusion: this was not human technology. When thousands of credible witnesses tell the same story, at what point do we start listening? In November 2004, something happened that would eventually force the U.S. military to acknowledge what they'd been denying for decades. Off the coast of San Diego, the USS Nimitz carrier strike group detected multiple unidentified objects on radar, objects that had been appearing and disappearing for weeks. These weren't birds or weather phenomena. They were solid, fast, and defying every law of physics we understand. Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate were ordered to intercept. What they found was a white, oblong object about the size of their FA-18 Super Hornet, with no visible propulsion system, no wings, no exhaust. Fravor describes what happened next. It mirrored our movements, then suddenly accelerated and disappeared. We're talking about instantaneous acceleration, 0 to hypersonic in the blink of an eye. That's impossible with our technology. The encounter was captured on multiple sensors, radar, infrared, and eyewitness accounts from highly trained military personnel. This wasn't a single observer or a grainy photo. This was a coordinated encounter documented by the most sophisticated detection equipment on Earth. For 15 years, this remained classified. Then in 2020, the Pentagon did something unprecedented. They officially released the footage, and confirmed its authenticity. June 2021 marked a watershed moment in UFO disclosure. The U.S. Office of the Director of National Intelligence released an unclassified report that shattered decades of official denial. The report analyzed 144 encounters between 2004 and 2021. Of these 144 cases, only one could be explained. The rest, quote, UAP clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to U.S. national security. But the real bombshell came in May 2022 when Congress held its first public UFO hearing in over 50 years. Pentagon officials testified under oath about encounters involving objects that demonstrated instantaneous acceleration beyond known human capabilities, hypersonic speeds without sonic booms, transmedium travel, moving seamlessly from air to water, no visible means of propulsion. Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence Scott Bray told Congress, "We do not know what these UAP are." Think about that. The most advanced military in human history is publicly admitting there are objects in our skies performing maneuvers that shouldn't be possible. This wasn't a conspiracy theory or tabloid speculation. This was sworn testimony before the United States Congress. So, if UFOs, or UAP as they're now officially called, are real, what are we looking at? Let's examine the possibilities. Theory 1. Advanced human technology. Perhaps these are secret military projects, either ours or from rival nations. But there's a problem. The technology demonstrated appears to be decades, if not centuries, ahead of anything publicly known. We're talking about propulsion systems that seem to ignore inertia and gravity. Theory 2. Natural phenomena. Could these be rare atmospheric or electromagnetic phenomena we don't fully understand? Possibly, but this doesn't explain the structured craft observed at close range, or their apparent intelligent behavior and response to military aircraft. Theory 3. Non-human intelligence. This brings us to the possibility that has captivated humanity for generations. We're not alone. Whether extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or something else entirely, these objects might represent intelligence from outside our current understanding. Here's what we know for certain. These objects exist. They demonstrate technology that surpasses our current capabilities. And they show what appears to be intelligent, purposeful behavior. We're living through a remarkable transformation in how we discuss this phenomenon. UFOs have moved from the fringe to the Pentagon, from conspiracy theories to congressional hearings, from ridicule to serious scientific inquiry. The stigma that once silenced pilots, military personnel, and scientists is finally lifting. Major universities are establishing research programs. NASA has announced its own UAP study team. The conversation has fundamentally changed. I believe we're on the verge of one of the most significant discoveries in human history. Whether these objects represent advanced human technology, unknown natural phenomena, or something else entirely, the implications are staggering. The question is no longer, are UFOs real? The evidence is overwhelming. They are. The question now is, what are they? And what does their presence mean for humanity? For the first time in history, we're approaching this mystery with the tools of science rather than the weapons of ridicule. And that gives me hope that we're closer than ever to answers. The universe is vast, mysterious, and full of possibilities we're only beginning to understand. If this journey into the unknown has opened your mind to new possibilities, share it with others who are ready to question what we think we know about our place in the cosmos.